Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tusi TV, your global news channel. I'm Maya Tusi, and the Islamists in Syria are in huge trouble. Over the last few hours, the Israeli Defense Forces made huge moves in the southern parts, especially of the country, in order to save and protect the Druze and Christian civilians in the country. Al-Julani's government, at best, don't seem to be able to control their own Islamist minions. At worst, they might be complicit in this whole situation. We have to give you guys the latest update on what's happening in Syria, because the rest of the corporate media, the one thing I did see from actually was CNN. That was not a complete report. All they mentioned was from one side, because the Islamists have been attacking the Druze, especially in the south. The Druze earlier today, over the last few hours, did fight back, and they actually made some good advances towards, let's just say, Al-Julani supporters, the crazy Islamist Sunni nutters, right? CNN only reported on that, the fight back, and it kind of made the Druze sound like the bad guys here, which makes no sense. But the Druze community and the Christians have been asking Israel to help them. And the Israeli government remains committed to do that, because it's also in the interest of the Israelis not to allow this to escalate, because they are right next door to Israel. If the Sunni Islamists take full control with their terrorist activities, of course, that's yet another problem for Israel in the future. Let me give you guys the latest videos that we have. First is from a few hours ago, when the Al-Julani supporters, let's call them, right, but also the actual official forces, the SAA, did manage to seize full control of Al-Mazra, which is about 10-12 kilometers away from the central Suwaida in the southern parts of Syria. Let's go and see what happened. Insane.
عنيفة تدور في القوات إلى منطقة المزرعة. طبعا دخلت قوات وزارة الدفاع منطقة المزرعة كما تشاهدون. هذه
Crazy scenes coming from Syria. We will go back to more footage that we have. But the Druze forces, who have been obviously rebelling against the Sunni Islamists, aligned with Israel and the IDF, did manage to actually make some successful advances in counterattacks. They captured an armored vehicle belonging to Al-Julani's forces. It's kind of escalating the whole thing anyway. Let's quickly go to that moment and see what happened.
وهذه مدرعة غانمينة من الأنجاس. هذه مدرعة غانمينة من الأنجاس. بعد
I love how, yeah, they captured the car, the armored vehicle. They put the Druze flag on top of it. It's ours now. Finders keepers. Al-Julani, obviously the official government of Syria, well, technically an interim government. I'm not really sure how long he's going to stay, because he hasn't been elected, right? But the official government continues to say, we are trying our best. We are trying to keep control of the rest of the Islamists, but it's not easy to do. I get it. I fully understand. Let's just say it's in the interest of Al-Julani and his government to ensure that they don't seem to be supporting this, okay? We know that. The problem is, now is the government forces, not just the Sunni Islamists, it's the government forces who are attacking the Druze, because the Islamists, let's just call them the rogue nutters, who started attacking the civilians, Druze and Christians. Then they went to the government in Damascus and said, well, I don't know why we are being attacked by the Druze. It's because you attacked them first. So the Syrian government is basically getting involved, pretending that, oh, we were just told that the Druze are attacking a fellow Syrian, so we're going to have to come and attack them. Now, obviously, Al-Julani's government and their officials know the truth. But officially speaking, this is the line from the government. We're just getting involved because somebody's complaining about the other one bullying them, even though the Islamists did it first. Let's go to the rest of the footage and see what's been going on.
حاليا هذه القوات تتقدم باتجاه
Crazy people.
فيما بعد منطقة المزرعة حاليا. هذه خطوط الدفاع التي كانت قام بقطع جميع الطرقات وانتشار القناصة على هذا الجامع.
Now,
طبعا
so this is still the
تقدمت.
anti-Druze side causing trouble. But to be objective, the Druze have also been fighting first, mostly because one of the main reasons was that they believe that they are not safe. So they want to have their own territory. And technically speaking, the Syrian government could say, well, the Druze are fighting. So yes, the Druze did start part of it, but that was still in self-defense, because for months and months they continue to get attacked, and they simply want their own self-determination, and they want to live. That's all. This is where they took control of. This is basically near Suwaida in the south. Here we go. More explosions of gunfire. At this point, Syria was supposed to become stable. Let's not forget, but it's not.
قوات وزارة الدفاع إلى كامل منطقة المزرعة حاليا.
It's also not safe for them to be on the ground. Idiots. Anyway. The main point of this is that the official Syrian government are still under a lot of political pressure. In order to continue the so-called diplomacy with Israel, with the European Union, with all the others, Al-Jilani knows that formally, as a government, he needs to be seen to be doing a crackdown on the Islamists, not just the Druze. Right now, as I said, his official line is, both sides are causing trouble, I need to come in and do something. But why is it that you're only hitting the Druze more? And it's the IDF that had to make a move against the Islamists. The whole of country, especially in the south, has turned into the Wild West. And, well, Al-Jilani is going around shaking hands with the European leaders. Let me show you exactly what sort of mess we're dealing with. Insane. Look at that. Once Al-Qaeda, always Al-Qaeda. Savages, absolute savages. Anyway, the Syrian army units then advanced into the Druze territory, the Suwaida, Al-Suwaida city. They did it from different directions when they went in. They brought their tanks and armored vehicles and everything else. Then the Israeli fighter jets, the Israeli fighter jets were heard. That's when things kicked off between both the IDF and the government forces, as well as the so-called rogue Sunni Islamists, who are still technically supporters of the government anyway. Watch. These are the government tanks. This is now in Suwaida. You could hear, just about at the end, you could hear the fighter jets. This is when the Israeli fighter jets started attacking, and I'm going to show you some of the videos. Before we do that, there was a statement that came from the Israeli government and the Defense Minister Israel Katz himself, who said that the IDF attacked targets in Syria as a message and a clear warning to the Syrian regime that Israel will not allow harm to the Druze in the country. Mostly because, of course, the Druze community, alongside the Christians, have been asking Israel as their neighbor to help them. So the Israelis said, okay, well, we're going to have to do it. Firstly, because they care. Secondly, as I said, it's in the interest of Israel not to allow the border to become chaotic. Al-Jilani officially said until now he's going to stay away from that. He's not going to go to the south. Now they're there. Now they have crossed the line. This is happening at the same time as diplomacy happening between Syria and Israel. It's not going to help, is it? Now, the political pressure might help, but not for now. Just after the Israeli airstrikes hit the Syrian army, this was no longer the rogue Sunni Islamists, the actual official Al-Jilani forces. This was near the edge of Al-Suwaida in the southwest of Syria. Let me just quickly show you that video, only a few seconds. It's interesting, some of these so-called, I don't know what to call them, reporters, journalists that go around, not all of them, but some of them, the ones you see with the amateur phones and the official flag of Syria, the new Syria, they kind of remind me of the so-called journalists in Gaza, a little bit. The so-called journalists in Gaza, a lot of them happen to actually be active Hamas terrorists. These guys are, a lot of them, they're filming, but they also have their guns because they're all also part of the militant groups. So I'm like, okay, so are you a journalist or are you a so-called soldier? Pick one. You can't do both at the same time. They're not doing it for self-defense. It's not self-defense. You're going into Druze territory on purpose and causing trouble. The Druze leader also spoke out earlier today. Sheikh Amin al-Sayegh said, we call on Saudi Arabia to intervene to prevent strife and stop the attacks on our people in Suwaida, which are taking place under the watchful eyes of the authorities. Now, we are waiting for Saudi Arabia, who are, technically speaking, on the right side, and technically speaking, on the same page with Israel on this, and the Druze, to actually make an official statement or say something. It's unlikely that Saudi will get involved proactively because they got their own problems. It's just too much chaos when they have Yemen to deal with and the IRGC. But Saudi Arabia could at least send a message of support. It's still important, even though it's pointless, but it's important because that will put more political pressure on Al-Jilani. If he wants to join the Abraham Accords, he needs to take this under control. If he can't, then there's no point. The Israelis are not going to have it. Anyway, the Syrian government tanks continue to move towards the southern parts of Syria. They confronted the Druze forces because they called them troublemakers, ironically. It was the supporters of Al-Jilani that caused trouble, but this happened. Allahu Akbar. Yalla tawakkalu ala Allah ya akhwan. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Yeah. I wonder how many times per day these idiots just randomly say Allahu Akbar. You can't just keep overusing Allahu Akbar. It's meaningless now. You're just going around shouting, oh, God is the greatest. Yes, what's the context? You can't keep shouting that for no reason. You just see some tanks going forward. Oh, well, for the record, I can see the tanks. God is the greatest. Idiots of the Sunni Islamist side aside, Israelis obviously continue to target the Syrian regime forces. This was again in an operation in Suwaida. Let me show you quickly the next video we have from that. It's actually, this one's only 4 seconds, but this is the aftermath of the Israeli attacks. Allahu Akbar, غارة إسرائيلية استهدفتنا. Allahu Akbar, غارة إسرائيلية استهدفتنا. Of course, the video has to start with Alan Snackbar, where you're saying that the Israelis hit that area. Now, Al-Jilani repeatedly, even the last couple of hours, been sending more reinforcements to the south. The official position from the government now is, in Syria, to disarm the Druze. Not the Sunni side, not the Islamists. Disarm the Druze. Let's not forget, only a few months ago, Al-Jilani promised Israel not to even get close to that side, to the south southwest of Syria. Israel got him to promise, leave him alone. Just leave him. Al-Jilani is saying, well, the Druze were coming out, so we now have to go and disarm them. As if, I don't know, the Druze are some sort of like Nazis or something. They're not. Let's go and see what happened. Oh, we're getting some breaking news from Iran. Do we have it? Yes. Okay, so we can now bring you guys some breaking news over the last couple of hours, over the last hour or so. While this is happening in Syria, the Iranian regime's air defense system has now been activated in Tabriz, in the northwest of Iran. More explosions are being heard across the country. Obviously, earlier today we reported about all the attacks on the IRGC bases all day. I think we can show you a short video from Tabriz in Iran. I'll translate, don't worry. Just gunfire. Yeah, so the guy basically just started a video saying we are hearing a lot of gunfire, but also explosions. This is in Tabriz, but clearly it's the air defense system, not necessarily, I don't think it is. Shooting on the ground itself. Well, I'm going to keep an eye on what's going on in Iran as well as Syria. Hopefully there will be more successful advances by the Israeli Defense Forces in the southwest in Suwaida, because we don't know for how many hours for the rest of the night. It's quite late now, it's early morning hours in Syria. How long this is going to go for and what's going to happen tomorrow, because if Al-Jilani continues to send reinforcements and more of his regime armed forces to the south, it is definitely going to escalate the diplomatic situation between Syria and Israel. And this is not a time to deal with that. But there's so much happening. In Gaza, we are getting close to the end. We still got some activities in Lebanon. We got the issue in Iran, which again, allegedly the Mossad operatives are still attacking, right? You really don't want the whole Syria thing to become an issue right now. The whole point of getting Al-Jilani recently to say calm down was to not get him to be involved. But it seems like his forces are continuing to cause more damage in Suwaida. All right, let's see what we have. When you hear the postman whistle and rattle your mailbox made of tin, then you know your monthly Mossad check has now at last come in. Thanks for that. Israeli settlers are actively attacking Christians in the West Bank, like IRL right now. IRL is the Gen Z language. I'll keep an eye on that as well. I am in the US and can't attend the 9th of August, but I'll gladly buy a ticket to a new media conference for someone that you know will come but can't afford it. Well, that's very generous of you. If you do happen to be a member of 2CTV Plus, you can actually send this message in the chat forum that we have, and someone might actually take up on your offer. Thanks for that, by the way. Keep showing the world what Islam does. Yeah, because the rest of the idiots don't, right? Now let's get some couple of non-super chats. What is this? The Islamists need to go. Yep. The Druze need to be equipped and fight back with Christians. So they have made some good progress. A lot of them are now armed. And they've also obviously captured some of the armored vehicles from the Syrian regime, which is not going to make Al-Jilani happy, right? Alex says, thought that the government of Jilani was going to create a safe and civil society after Trump, their savior, released them and gave him a chance. Yeah, I mean, on paper, only on paper, obviously, even in this report, I criticize Al-Jilani a lot. On paper, Syria was chaotic when Al-Jilani basically got rid of Assad with the help of Erdogan. it's still early days. So on paper, I'm not saying Al-Jilani is a good guy, but regardless of what sort of person he is, he still wants to be a leader, right? It's in the interest of any sort of leader, dictatorial or democratic leader, to have a stable country. It's still early days for him. However he's going to be doing it, it's going to take, I mean, a normal country in chaos, it will take about a year. Syria, it's probably going to take 2-3 years, which also means that it might not be able to survive. We'll find out. But it doesn't help that Al-Jilani, his past and his connections to some of the people causing trouble is still fresh. It doesn't matter. It does kind of matter how he behaves now, even if he's faking it, because he's been forced to say, oh, it's okay, I can do diplomacy, it's fine. But his connections to Islamists and terrorists is still fresh. A lot of people in Syria won't be able to see him as the father of the country. That's the issue. He's not neutral. That's the point. He's not neutral. He was on one side, did a coup against the other bad guy. Bad guys replacing bad guys. It's hard. It's not an outsider. Anyway, should we go to some of the members, see what these guys are saying on 2CTV Plus? Where are we, guys? Are we here? Yeah, there. Cool. Right. Let's get some shout outs. I sent a message on X to Elon to expedite you, a Starlink. Yes, the Starlink has arrived. Do people believe that Al-Jilani wants to protect its civilians that are non-Muslim? Yeah, I mean, he doesn't, but as I say, it's the same thing, that it will be in the interest of any sort of, even dictatorial leader, to keep the place stable. Now, that kind of means if he wants to, what he can do is just push the Druze out and send them to Israel. Or kind of make a concession and basically allow that tiny part to become Israeli territory. It's a very controversial idea. It's not in the interest of Israel to take over, and it's too much bureaucracy. The best way to just go back to having a buffer zone between Syria and Israel. Crazy Islamists. All I hear now when Islamists yell Alan Snackbar. Alan Snackbar. Good on the people to fight back. Thanks, mate. Yes. They are absolute maniacs. So let's not forget, one of the main reasons I repeatedly during this report mentioned the Druze civilians and Christians is because even the tiny reports that I saw by the mainstream media, they hardly mention the Christians. It's like they don't exist. So they are also being attacked, not to undermine what's happening to the Druze, because it's happening at the same time. But the Druze are a big community. In that part, they're a big community. So it's important to obviously mention the Druze. But let's not forget that other civilians who are not Islamic are also getting targeted repeatedly. Now, Susan says, I hear Allahu Akbar and instantly test negatively for sympathy. It's weird. We know what we will have to call the food place next to your pub. What? Where is the rest of it? Well, is it Alan Snackbar? It's probably Alan Snackbar. Have you had some sleep yet? Try not to let your health suffer. I know it's easier said than done, but you can't do anything if you ate sick from exhaustion. Yeah, so no, I still actually haven't managed to take that nap that I mentioned earlier. No, I'll do it after this, don't worry. It's close to midnight now in London. I will have some sleep. Unless some weird nonsense happens over the next couple of hours. Gotta keep going. Templar says, missed the earlier live stream. Maybe send your current censorship issues to Trump's team. He's putting pressure on Starmer regarding free speech. It's not censorship issues as if some sort of bureaucracy. It's mostly like death threats and my family getting targeted. So it's slightly different. You can't really go to President Trump, a foreign leader, and say, can you have a conversation with the British Prime Minister and tell him for his people not to try to kill Maya Tusi? Doesn't work. If it was some sort of legislation, then yeah, on free speech, yeah, Trump could say, Starmer, be nicer. Anyway. If the King Penguin comes out of his bunker wearing pink lipsticks, will the following penguins chuck it off the roof? You joke, but the so-called penguins, and penguins are basically the Shia Islamists in Iran, because of what they were. The theory about the future is the moment that the fall of IRGC officially happens. It's going to happen, just a matter of timing. They're going to have to leave the country. Those of them who didn't have time to leave on a plane, the only way is to leave using the border on the ground. And the only way to be able to get out of it is for some of these mullahs to basically wear some sort of a hijab or burqa, pretend to be a woman, put some lipstick on. So I can assure you some of these ayatollahs will have to become a woman in order to leave the country. Anyway, so this is what we have now from Syria. And I'm just going to quickly check to see if we have more updates on the explosions in Iran. We just had Tabriz again, obviously. So far, so good. Oh, we just have some update as well. The Muslim Brotherhood, the official organization, could actually now be designated as a terrorist organization by the US. So we'll wait for that confirmation as well. Before they were just, there was no appetite. But now there could be. All right, not much from Iran since a few minutes ago when I showed you the situation in Tabriz. We're going to keep an eye on that as usual. And of course, let you guys know about the lovely Druze in Syria. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And don't forget, 9th of August, we are rallying the troops, the new media conference. We are getting new media outlets from all around the world to come to London. If you want to join us on the 9th of August, use the promo code 2C50 to get 50% off our tickets by going on 2cevents.tv. And don't forget to download the 2C TV app as well to get access to all our news shows, our documentaries, chat forum, the store, and everything else. I'm Maya 2C, and we are the media.